The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Joe from 3D Cart, and I'd like to thank you for attending our webinar today. With us, we have Stacy and Wendy from Bing. They're going to give us a rundown of what Bing has to offer and how Bing can help you grow your e-commerce business. As a reminder, today's broadcast will be recorded and available for viewing in the 3D Cart YouTube library later this afternoon. Please hold all questions until the end of the webinar, when we will have a question and answer session. Now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Stacy and Wendy, who will join us from Seattle.
Hi, everyone. This is Stacy Hillman. I also have Wendy in the room. If you do have questions that you want to just quickly get answered, you're welcome to do that through the chat. Wendy will be handling all of those. And then we'll also open it up for Q&A at the end. We're going to talk a little bit today just about how you can grow your business using the Yahoo Bing network. Again, as I said, my name is Stacy Hillman. I'm a Bing evangelist here at Microsoft, which means that I talk, just as my title would assume, I talk a lot about Bing. I talk a lot about the audience that we have and try to just evangelize the fact that there are alternatives to Google out in the world. So I'll cover just a few basics here today. Ultimately, we'll talk about how you can help customers find you online through tactics both SEO and SEM. And then we'll dig into the search advertising side of the business a little bit. I'll tell you again about the audience that's available to you on Bing and Yahoo. And then I'll go through some best practices just when you start thinking about search engine advertising in general and how you can go about it on the Yahoo Bing network. And then we'll talk about just some easy steps to get started. You have some great offers available to you through 3D Cart. And then we'll cover off on resources that you can use to kind of follow up on everything that we talk about today. And like I said, there will also be an open Q&A at the end. So let's get started just with the differences and definitions behind SEO and SEM. So first and foremost, what is SEM? And just I'm going to level set here and kind of go through the basics just to kick things off. And then we'll kind of, like I said, dig into some more of the specifics. But as you can imagine, just within, if you're doing a search on any search engine, you're going to see two sets of results. So the orange area here is what we're referring to as the paid search opportunities. And then there's also organic search results, which are highlighted in blue. So there's two different ways that you can get your websites listed on search engines. And I'll go through both of those today. But ultimately, why should you even worry about search engine marketing in general? Well, if you just think about your daily activity and how you go about researching products and finding things online, the search engines are really kind of an obvious entry point to begin research around products, services, ideas, so on and so forth. So as you can see from the slide, 91% of adults who are typically online use search engines to find information. And the way that people find information is really, it really kind of spans the gamut here. Again, think about how you use search engines. Now, the beauty of search engine marketing, either SEO or SEM, is that you can really get your message in front of people who are raising their hand and saying, I'm interested in this topic, or I'm interested in this service or this product or what have you. So it's a really great way to very easily get your information in front of customers who are already raising their hands. Additionally, it's really it's a great medium because there's so much control available to you as an advertiser, but also just as a website owner. So I'll talk through our targeting availability later in the presentation, but particularly with paid search ads, you can very easily kind of limit your message to an area that's relevant to you. So you can see here, this is kind of an example of just downtown Seattle, and if your business is located at this blue dot, it's really easy to kind of cater your message to people who are in your area and make it really relevant. You can also leverage search engine optimization. So this is kind of on the other end of the coin. And, at the very kind of highest level, SEO, excuse me, is the idea of when people do any kind of search, your website appears. This is not something that you would pay for. It's something that you actually do on the back end to help your website get ranked within the algorithmic results of a search engine. So while in theory, search engine optimization sounds pretty basic and straightforward, it can actually get rather complicated on the back end. It has to do a lot with the way that your site is built and how you go about just, leveraging certain features within your website. So I'm going to take a minute and just go through some really high-level best practices to get you started, just to start thinking about search engine optimization, and then we'll talk through some of the tools that are available to you that can help you kind of refine how to get your site positioned the most advantageously. So first and foremost, and probably the most obviously, you want to make it easy for web crawlers to access your content. So this is really kind of, the key here is truly sitemaps. You want to make sure that you're using your sitemaps and that you're also using search-friendly URL structures within your website navigation. You also want to make sure that your site is structured in a way that encourages link building. So linking to trusted content, both internally within your site to other areas of your site, and perhaps to other sites that have great content, is a good way to kind of prove to the search engine algorithm that your site is trustworthy and has good, strong information in it. You also want to make sure that there's a really strong content hierarchy. And the key to this is really kind of understanding search terms that are leading to your website already, or more importantly, that could be leading to your website. One of the tools that I'll talk about in a second actually helps you do this keyword research, so you can understand by looking at your website and the analytics behind it how people are finding your site already, and how and maybe you could see some very obvious holes. Perhaps if there's a product or service that you're offering and you're not seeing any of those keywords.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe. It sounds like Stacy's connection must have dropped. If you guys can hang on a second and try to get back in touch with her and see if we can get her back on the line. I'll be right back. So this is Joe again. I wish I had something to entertain you guys with. I don't really sing or anything, so I really can't do much to make you laugh, but we'll do our best here trying to get this audio back. And
Can you hear me now?
yes, I can hear you now. All right, we're back.
We're We're back. We're back in action. Okay, so I'm not quite sure exactly where I lost you, but I believe I was talking about content within your website and keyword research. So I'll just trust that that's where we left off. We can dig back into this if there are questions around it. But the other two things that I wanted to cover off on this slide were the idea of making sure that you're following all the guidelines when it comes to tagging on your site. So just as two quick examples, title tags should be short, about 65 characters, and unique to the page. But your meta description tags can be longer, and this is a great opportunity for you to contain the keywords that you find through the keyword research that I was referring to earlier, and include those in your meta descriptions. You want to make sure that all content is unique to every page, and again, based on that keyword research. And then finally, when it comes to building links, you should also insert your targeted keywords into the anchor text. This will help boost the relevancy for your targeted search terms and this increases the link's perceived value to both the users and search engines, and again, kind of encourages these algorithms to pick up your site and rank it favorably. The only other thing that I want to add here in terms of SEO is that it is always a really good idea to include social media icons or the ability to get people to share your website or products on your website as much as possible. It's just the whole idea here is, the more eyeballs to your site, the better. So always just kind of a good idea to take care of that on your site. So let's talk a little bit then about how you can actually get some of that research that I mentioned done. And the beauty of this is that the first couple of things I'll talk about are free for your use. So Bing Webmaster Tools is a free service that's available through the Bing website, and you can go there and sign in. You just sign up with any kind of Microsoft account. It's not like there's any prerequisites other than the fact that you already have a website. You can register your website, and then you can go in and look at all of this great, rich data that has to do with how keywords are driving traffic to your site, what kind of referrers you have, all kind of information about the back end of your site and how you're getting visibility. It's a great tool, and I believe 3D Cart might actually do a webinar just dedicated to Bing Webmaster Tools in the coming weeks, so we'll be sure to keep you posted on that. The next tool is the Bing Business Portal, and this is also free for people to take advantage of. And this is relevant for people who have local businesses that are actually brick and mortar. So you can make sure that your listings show up again in our algorithmic search. By going into the Bing Business Portal, you can, again, just kind of log in and see if your listing already exists. So you can do a simple search just to see if your business shows up. And then if it does show up, you can enhance the existing listing. You can add maybe even pictures of your site itself. You can add business hours, that kind of thing. Or if it doesn't exist, you can go ahead and create your business listing and include all that information. So, if, for example, you're selling shoes on Main Street, in a certain zip code, then the Bing Business Portal would help you get that store actually listed when people were searching for shoes on Main Street in a certain zip code. And then, of course, you also have a lot of opportunities to get this information from 3D Cart themselves. So they have a pretty rich SEO tool set, and definitely something that you would want to check out just on their website. And I'm sure Joe can give you more information if you had questions about that. So now that we've kind of covered off on the basics between search engine optimization and search engine marketing, let's talk a little bit about search advertising specifically. So this is kind of more of the paid side of the business versus what we just talked about was more of the optimization side. That's things that you can do just kind of on the back end of your website. So again, to level set, search advertising in these screenshots here is shown in the orange area. And the steps that anyone would take to kind of see these listings is that someone would go in, do a search on the Yahoo or Bing pages, and then certain ads are triggered based upon which keywords are entered. So in this example, running shoes are the keywords available, and you can see that the ads show up. Now, when searchers click on the ads, and these ads are things that you as an advertiser would be able to craft and create yourself, and drive them to specific pages on your website. Now, the beauty of search advertising and why it's one of a very well-liked engine for driving traffic to people's sites is because you're only charged when your advertising is actually clicked. So you actually get a decent amount of branding for free if your advertiser, if your ad itself is never actually clicked on. So why should you spend money on paid search? Well, there are more than a few reasons. So first and foremost, search advertising is very tightly tied to performance. So especially for small businesses, it's a really great way to be able to see how much you're spending and how much it's kind of resulted in on your site, be it website visits or actual conversions, however you would define a conversion. So as I mentioned before, while your ads can appear aside queries that contain words that are relevant to your site, you only actually pay for them if your ad actually gets clicked on. And the ads themselves appear kind of in rank based upon an auction model. So you as an advertiser can really set your price and say, I'm only willing to pay X amount for each person to come to my site using this ad. So it's really dictated by each individual person and advertiser in terms of what you want to get out of it, what's most valuable to you. Additionally, you have really great control and flexibility over where and when your ads appear. So as I alluded to earlier, you can target campaigns by geography, time of day, even sometimes some demographic data. And I'll get into some best practices about how you can leverage that in a little bit. So ultimately, the other really important thing to understand and remember here is that not only are your customers using search engines to find meaningful information to help them get things done, find products they're looking for, but your competitors are using search engines as well. So your two kind of crucial questions here are your customers looking through search engines? Yes. But also your competitors are there, so you want to make sure that you're getting kind of equal footing and opportunity to get in front of customers again that are kind of raising their hands. So as you can see here, you can look at search advertising as a way to really accomplish a couple of different goals, right? So you define what your goals and conversion would be. In this case, it could be just generating leads, like I said, eyeballs to your website. You could ask people to sign up for a newsletter, so you're actually collecting information. It could be more around sales or purchases, those kinds of conversions. Or you could simply just want to improve awareness. So get your name out there and perhaps tie your name to some kind of message that could be unique to your business specifically. So let's dig in a little bit on paid search ads, and I'll talk very briefly just about the Yahoo Bing network and the audience that's available to you through that network, just so you understand the differences between what other search engines like Google might be able to offer, and in comparison what the Yahoo Bing network offers. And then we'll get into some specifics around best practices. So just to kind of, again, help you understand what's available to you through this Yahoo Bing network, you're able to reach 153 million unique searchers through the Yahoo Bing network. So that's about 5 billion monthly searches and works out to about 30% of search share overall. So 1/3 of all the queries just in the United States. Definitely, worth spending some time on or understanding that there's opportunity here. I think what I really like about this slide, as you might guess, is this 47.3 million number. There are people who search exclusively on the Yahoo Bing network. I'm one of those people, so you can say that you've met one of the 47.3 million. But these are people who are not using Google, right? So they only use the Yahoo Bing network. And ultimately, this number represents who you could be missing if you're not getting your message out in front of our network of customers. Just to kind of set some context there, too. So 47 million people is approximately the population of Spain. So it's a decent amount of people and a good number, just to kind of, again, put that in context. Oops. The other piece that I think is really important to understand is just the buying power and the audience behind that 47.3 million and also the 5 billion searches that you're looking at. on a monthly basis. There's a great opportunity here for you when you think about our network versus Google, and I'll just go through this quickly. But you can see here in the buying power index, the average internet user has, an index of 100. But those who are searching on the Yahoo Bing network spend about 25% more than the average internet searcher. So these are people who are, well educated, they have credit cards, they use them, they pull them out. And definitely if you are interested in, people actually converting on your site in a way that involves, products or services and actually purchasing something, this is something to be aware of. And if you look at that specifically compared to Google, we're almost 8% more, our users are almost 8% more likely to complete some kind of purchase activity online. So again, just something to keep in mind. Now getting down to kind of how you access this audience, I'll just go through again a couple of basics around the Yahoo Bing network because I know it can be confusing. The beauty of Bing ads and this network as a whole is that you only have to log into one site and set up one campaign, and you get access to the searchers who are searching on Yahoo and Bing as the network suggests. But we also have a number of partner sites where you would gain distribution as well. So we work with sites like Facebook. We power their search advertising and search that's not their people search, but actually if someone was to do a web search. We also work with the Wall Street Journal digital network, so the search on those sites, as well as we have partnerships with Amazon and Monster, a number of different sites. So it's not just Yahoo and Bing, and the numbers that I was speaking about before really do represent this entire network of sites that we have under kind of our umbrella. So now that you know how to kind of access Bing ads and the audience behind it and who we are as a company, let's talk through some best practices when it comes to creating search advertising. And this is relevant not only for the Yahoo Bing network, but just for search advertising in general. So when it comes to think about your ad campaign, you really want to start with the basics, and those are ad copy and keywords. So there's these two really important pieces of any kind of search advertising campaign. And it can be pretty overwhelming if you want to just think about, as you're building your keyword list and how many keywords could really drive traffic to your site. But there's a lot of tools that are available to you, and through the Bing Ads interface, you can actually type in maybe just a few keywords that you think are extremely relevant to your business, go through a couple of buttons, and a complete keyword list can be generated for you. And you can kind of pick and choose if you want to use all of the words, just a few of the words, whatever makes the most sense to you. But don't be intimidated just by the idea of, oh my gosh, I need hundreds or thousands of keywords, and I can only think of 10 that are relevant to my business. There are many, many tools that can help you build out this kind of information pretty easily. So when it comes to the ad copy side, this is another thing that it can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but it's pretty simple when you just start to think about it and break it down. You just want to kind of consider which offers do you want to promote, what are the goals for your campaigns. As we talked about before, do you want to drive traffic to a newsletter? Do you want to actually have someone purchase something on your site? Do you want to just kind of raise awareness of your site? All of that should be taken into consideration when you're creating an actual ad copy itself. So these two things together are kind of, like I said, the basics and the starting point for your campaign. And as I mentioned, it's pretty simple within the Bing Ads interface to get these things done. And I'll also go through, if you already have something built out on another search engine, say perhaps Google, there's also some areas there that we can help you kind of jump the line and get started really quickly. So first, I'll just go through these best practices. The next is targeting and keyword bidding, so something that you just want to make sure that you're aware of. Targeting is especially relevant for small businesses because you can be really specific about when and where your ads show. So, for example, if you only want to drive traffic to your business during working hours, so say you really want someone to actually call your business and you're only there from 9 to 5, you can actually have your ads only show between those hours. Additionally, if you only service a specific area, you can geographically target where your ads show. So at the beginning, I showed that kind of map of Seattle, and here's the area where my business would be most relevant. You can actually target it down to that specific area and make sure that your ads are showing to only the most relevant audience. And again, since you're only paying for people who are actually clicking on your ads, it's even if your targeting could be more broad specs, you only get charged if people click on your ad. The keyword bidding piece is extremely important as well. So as I mentioned, everything within paid search advertising is run through an auction. And while you get to dictate what you would pay for your ad, if someone were to click on it, you also want to make sure that you're being competitive in the marketplace, right? So if you're willing to only pay 50 cents for a keyword, but you've noticed, everyone else in the auction is paying $5, that's something that you really need to ask yourself. How relevant is this keyword to you? Is it worth it? If someone were to click through, is it worth it for you to pay $5, or should this just be, more of a low priority keyword for you? So for the highly relevant terms, you want to bid higher so your ad has a more prominent position on the page. But for terms that don't perform as well, you can adjust those bids so the ROI is within your target range. So in summary, there are a number of things that you should do just to kind of get started again in terms of best practices. And we just talked about a couple of these in depth, but just to kind of go through in summary. You want to do your keyword research through the tools that are either available to you through something like Bing Ads, other tools that are available to you just within the industry. There's a lot of free stuff available out there. And you want to make sure that you have a kind of the amount of keywords that's critical to your business. You want to have critical mass for the number of keywords. The more impressions that you get, the more eyeballs that could be coming to your site, or at least seeing your message. Again, you want to make sure that your keywords are relevant to your business, but still truly comprehensive and covering every possible area. You want to spend some time writing compelling ad copy. As I mentioned before, think about what makes your business unique. Is there some kind of promotion that you're running that's going to set you apart from your competition, or really kind of get someone's attention from the page? Or is it just that you have something quirky about your business that people really like? It's worth noting in ad copy. People do read it. Again, they're at search engines to really do some research, and they spend time kind of looking through where they're going to click. No one wants to waste their time clicking on something that doesn't make sense to them. So definitely a good area to spend some time on. The budgeting piece is something that is very unique to each individual advertiser, but it's extremely important. So you want to make sure that your budgets don't run out mid-campaign, but you also want to make sure that you're doing the right analysis and determining how much you want to spend and what your ROI goals are. Bidding is a huge part of this. So again, within our tool, you can kind of look at the bid data for keyword sets. So if you really don't even know where to start, and again, you're selling red shoes and you have no idea what to bid on red shoes in order to be competitive, there are tools out there that can help you really understand, where should I be bidding, what's the going rate for this, that kind of thing. So you're not going into this blindly. There's a lot of help out there for you. And then finally, you want to leverage the targeting options that are available to you. So reaching the most relevant audience will, of course, boost your overall performance and ultimately deliver a really strong ROI for you. And that's what search marketing is really known for, is the ROI metric, right? So it's not like, you're running a huge billboard in Times Square and spending millions of dollars and you don't really know what the return rate is, or throwing up a sign on the sidewalk and not really knowing how much is driving to your business. Within search marketing, you can count every single click and see the activity. So there are a couple of tools to help you get started if you are overwhelmed at this point, and especially if you're new to search marketing, or if you're very comfortable with search marketing on someone like a Google, but you're interested in kind of expanding your reach and getting into a different audience. There's a number of tools that we offer. So first is our Quick Launch program. This is just a temporary service that's really there to kind of help you get over those initial hurdles for starting. So you are put in touch with a search engine expert. They kind of help understand what your goals are, what what you kind of have already within resources, and it kind of just kickstarts your campaign to make sure that you get off on the right foot. And then there's an import tool. So as I said, if you already have everything set up on Google, and the idea of doing this again within the Bing Ads interface is just way too much for you to even consider thinking about, it's very, very easy to take your campaigns from one engine and just port them over to another. So you can say, you can take either your entire campaign or maybe even just test it out with some of the most, most successful areas on Google and put that into the Bing Ads tool pretty quickly and easily. So let's talk about someone who's actually employed a lot of the techniques that we just went through, and is hopefully pretty relevant because they're a smaller advertiser. They have a really a very niche market. Tap My Trees is a family-run business. They only are working with people who are trying to do maple sugaring, right? So it's maple sugaring supplies, certainly not something that is universally relevant. But they've seen a lot of success, specifically within the Yahoo Bing network, but just within search engines in general, because they really wanted to reach a very specific market. They had a lot of seasonality that's related to their business. And since they are, family-owned and very small, they wanted to make sure that they were getting the most bang for their buck, right? And they wanted to make sure that every dollar they spent was able to be tracked, and they were able to really understand what they were getting for their advertising dollar. So what they did within the Yahoo Bing network is they were able to use lots and lots of targeting techniques. So going through what we had talked about before in terms of, only looking at areas that were relevant to the business. So I think on the previous slide it mentioned, the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic states, those kinds of things. They really understood who would be interested in these types of supplies. And then due to the seasonality, they were able to not only target based on, time of day or even just making sure that their campaigns were on and off at the correct time, but they were also able to budget effectively. So they were sure that, when they knew that there were spikes or they were anticipating spikes in their business, they were able to dedicate more budget and more accurately kind of understand where they could really drive the most eyeballs to their site. So in terms of results, they were able to generate about 25% of their overall traffic to their website just using the Yahoo Bing network, which is really great and impressive. But I think the thing that's really important to point out here is that it wasn't just 25% of traffic that was, looking around their site and perhaps not finding what they need and left quickly, but these are people who were highly engaged with their site and had a much lower bounce rate than their overall bounce rate. So meaning that people would come to the site and actually spend time there. They wouldn't come to the site and then jump right out upon seeing what it was. And that has to do, too, with the way that they've structured their ads. They were probably very specific in what they were offering, really clear to people who would be searching for what they could find on their site. So really a great story of just how a really small business that has, again, like a very niche market and unique offering was able to find a lot of success within the Yahoo Bing network and search marketing in general. So let's talk a little bit about how you can get started, and then we'll jump into some questions. Now, the great thing about the Yahoo Bing network and 3D Cart is that you already have access to a coupon that's waiting for you. So the screenshot here shows how, just where within your control panel you can see within 3D Cart what your coupon is and how you can actually redeem it. It's a pretty easy process. You can just kind of click through and redeem within the Bing Ads site once you get set up. And you can also, like I said, use the tools that we were mentioning before, like Quick Launch or the import tool, once you redeem your coupon. So it's a pretty seamless process. But no risk to you if you have this coupon available to you, and can kind of mark it for free based on the value of your coupon. Now, it's a great way to kind of test things, maybe dip your toe in the water, see how the response rates are. maybe test out a few new keywords that you haven't used before, or test out some new ad copy. It's just a really great opportunity for you. So I would recommend that you go into your control panel within the 3D cart and take a look, make sure that your coupon is there. And then you just like to kind of introduce a very friendly challenge here. So if you do redeem your coupon and have a great story that you want to tell through Microsoft and through the Yahoo Bing network, we're happy to hear about it. So you can go to the link here. It's advertise.bingads.microsoft.com and fill out a form about the success that you've heard, and we can actually feature you in webinars or other marketing materials that we do. Of course, whatever you would be the most comfortable with. So just to summarize, before we get into the resources and any questions that you guys might have, both SEO and SEM, so search engine optimization and search engine marketing, are important to help you gain visibility on the Yahoo Bing network. And as I mentioned a number of times, there's a bunch of free tools, not only just from Yahoo and Bing, but from 3D Cart as well, that can help you achieve goals in both arenas. And then search advertising can be extremely cost efficient due to the cost per click pricing and the multitude of options available to really refine your audience so you're getting your message in front of the right eyeballs. And then finally, Bing Ads is truly the key to kind of unlocking the audience on the Yahoo Bing network. And with a few simple steps, you can get up and running really, really quickly and easily. So let's go through some resources that are available. These links are all areas where you can kind of dig into more of the information that we started talking about today. So Bing Webmaster Tools, just to recap, was the area, the search engine optimization. So you can go in, look at your website, look at the trends that are related to the site that you currently have. The Bing Business Portal is where you can go and claim your existing listing or create a listing that's relevant to your business. Bing Ads is where you can actually execute some of the paid search marketing opportunities. And then the rest of the links here, if you have questions about getting started, you need some help, you want to read more about the success stories that we have, maybe kind of take a look at how other people have taken advantage of the Yahoo Bing network, or if you just want to read up on some of our blogs or ask questions within the community, all of those links are here too, and they're available to you. So with that, I'm happy to open it up to questions if anyone has anything on the phone, or we can take them through chat as well. Okay, I think we have a couple of questions, and maybe Wendy can read them out.
Sure. So one of our questions was if we could speak a little bit to the site link extensions.
Sure. So site link extensions is something that we've recently offered within Bing Ads, so it is available to advertisers. And what it does is it helps advertisers really kind of take people to specific areas within their site. So I don't have a screenshot available right this second, but let's just take like a larger advertiser, or it doesn't matter actually, we could take a smaller advertiser too. But going back to the shoes example, if the keyword was really general and just shoes, but your website offers women's shoes, men's shoes, red shoes, yellow shoes, you could actually have all four of those links within your search ad itself. So it's a way to kind of deep link within the ad and get information, or get advertisers, or I'm sorry, get consumers to a more specific place on your website, so it's more likely for them to convert. So again, if an advertiser just, or if a consumer just types in shoes, maybe they're not even sure what they're looking for, but you as an advertiser can give them some options and then more easily kind of guide them through the process. So if they happen to know that they're looking only for women's shoes and they click on that women's shoes link, it's a much nicer experience. Any other questions?
Yes, we have another one about this person's business is only open Tuesday through Saturday, so is there a way for them to only show their ads during their business hours?
Yep. So there's targeting too. So we talked a little bit about the various targeting options, and you can do it by day of the week, you can do it by hours. It's really quite flexible, and even if, say perhaps it's a Sunday, but you still want to maybe drive traffic to your site, even though your actual, brick and mortar store is closed. You could have messaging within your ad copy that's specific to that as well. It's a little bit more complicated in how you set things up, but it's still certainly relevant to do.
And we have another question about radius targeting. If you can talk again a little bit about how people can limit the ads that are visible to people that are walking around or looking for businesses in their area.
Sure. So the geographic targeting options have gotten really robust recently. And not only, I think when we all first started search marketing, you could really only target by, metro area. So it's pretty wide, especially when you're thinking about smaller businesses. You could also do it by zip code, but again, it can be pretty broad. But within the radius targeting that you offer, you could say, I want to do it within this very specific area that could be centered around your business specifically. So you have a ton of control that's available to you through the targeting that we have. So I do encourage you to go into Bing Ads, and even if, you don't have to start running a campaign right away, but you can just kind of go through and see what's available to you when you set up a campaign, just so you fully understand all of the targeting options that are available to you. The other nice thing too that we just that we launched is this. It's called Zero to Click, and ultimately what this means is that when people initially were setting up campaigns with us, it would take a long time for them to kind of get started and actually start seeing people click through to their site. So we've recently launched an initiative that would really help advertisers like yourselves kind of sign up, immediately, and then within 24 hours start seeing clicks to your site. So it helps you kind of, again, understand what's driving traffic to your site, how the ads are performing. It gives you immediate feedback rather than waiting, either a week, a month, what have you, for you to actually kind of see results from your site. So it's something that we've been working really hard at here, and I think ultimately, like I said, if you want to redeem that coupon, you should be seeing clicks to your site within 24 hours.
And we have a question if there's any training available for people that are relatively new to search advertising or need a refresher.
Yep. So there's a number of training resources available. I know that it can get overwhelming at times, especially if you are familiar with what Google has to offer, but you're trying to get up to speed with what we offer, or if you're just new to search overall. If you go to advertise.bingads.microsoft.com, I know that's a mouthful, but that's kind of our portal for all things search advertising. And there's a number of training options there. So there's videos for you. There are a number of best practices. You can go through our certification system if you would like, which kind of gives you access to all of the training videos and then takes you through a test if you actually want to get certified. It's not a requirement to do that. But at the very least, there's a ton of learning opportunities and resources available to you. I think that's all we have. Joe, did you have anything from your end?
No, I'm good. If we have any more questions that show up in the question and answer boxes, we'll continue to answer them at post-webinar, just so everybody gets answered. So if you have any questions, type them in.
Sounds great.
We're all good?
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
And thanks for attending, everybody. I'm going to take the webinar and we will post it on YouTube. And I'm probably going to try to get it up on the 3D Cart blog as well. So we'll promote this for those of you who missed it. And anybody has any questions at post-webinar, after the webinar is over, you can send them to sem@3dcart.com, and we'll get answers for you as well. Thanks, everybody.